Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla and the new show Overflow episode 53. Yes, still on holiday, so still a little bit different. But while Tesla is setting new records in revenue and free cash flow, well, Ford is bleeding badly on their EV business. But Ford is not the only legacy automakers that are bleeding badly. And Tesla is absolutely dominating the EV infrastructure. And Tesla is officially launching in Africa. And Europe is playing catch-up in the EV race. And Stellantis' former CEO, Carlos, is out saying that Tesla might not be around in another 10 years. Well, all of this and much more in today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
So while Tesla is setting new records in revenue and free cash flow, well, Ford is bleeding badly from their EV business. So while Tesla had a record-breaking quarter with record high revenue and record free cash flow and record deliveries and energy storage deployment, well, Ford is showing us just how difficult it is what Tesla is actually doing. As AJ reported, Ford's new losses deepen. Second largest quarter deficit on record. Ford has reported an EV segment loss of $1.41 billion in Q3, its second largest quarterly loss ever, surpassed only by Q4 2023. With this latest result, Ford's cumulatively EV losses now exceed $15 billion based on the company's disclosed financials. By globally comparison, this positions Ford as the second most loss-generating EV manufacturer worldwide, behind only Rivian, whose cumulative losses have surpassed $22 billion. The figures underscore the ongoing financial strain traditional automakers face in scaling EV operations. And AJ has shown this great chart many times before, but now even Jason from the All In podcast shared AJ's nice chart to show just how different Tesla is compared to the so-called competition. The difference in free cash flow from Tesla to Rivian is $42 billion. So as you can see on this chart, Tesla is the only one that is above the zero line. So I know a lot of people like to call every EV out there a Tesla killer or competition, but the truth is, there is still no real competition. Sure, they all now have EVs on the market, so the competition that the Tesla Qs has been screaming about for a decade now is all here. All here and all losing money on selling EVs. Sorry, but that will never be competition. When we look at Ford and see they are still losing billions of dollars even with the help of the EV tax credit ending in Q3 in the US, so just imagine how bad this will be in the next quarter and next year. That is not sustainable. So if they continue like this, they will not be in business in the future. So big credits to Ford for opening up their financials for the EV business, as no other legacy automaker has dared to do so. But it really gives us a nice insight into just how difficult it is what Tesla is doing, and how everyone has tried to make their first EV and has failed at making it profitably. Ford has shown that by opening up the books, so kudos for that. But Toyota also came out straight after the launch of their first BEV platform with the BZ4X and said they would never become profitable on that EV platform, so they had to make a new one, and that was no matter the scale they would get on that EV platform. So that is why they ripped apart a Model Y, called it a work of art, and tried to copy everything they could from Tesla, the only EV maker on the planet with a profitable EV. So we know Toyota will not be profitable on EV before their next generation of EV platform, and I am guessing the same is true about Ford and most other automakers. As we can see, Ford loses more money the more EV they sell. They need to get to their second and third generation of EV platforms to be able to have EVs with a profit. And my guess is that will be about the same time when Tesla will have full self-driving supervised and maybe even unsupervised in most regions. And that will make all other car manufacturers' new EV platforms that they might even be able to turn a profit on completely obsolete. So it will be very difficult to make the shift now over the next 5 years, as the next disruptive technology in the automotive industry is already coming, knocking them down once again before they even had a chance to get back up. Another legacy automaker that is looking like a dead man walking is Porsche, as they reported losses in Q3. So Porsche suffered its first quarterly losses since IPO. As AJ wrote, Porsche hit a major speed bump, a staggering $1.03 billion operating loss in Q3 wipes out nearly all profits from earlier this year. But Alex also wrote, Porsche reports $967 million loss in Q3 and a new round of layoffs. Consolidated operating profits falls from just over $4 billion in the previous year to $40 million. The loss of 1,900 jobs had already been announced at the beginning of the year, and now the company and the Work Council are negotiating a further staff reduction program. We have to assume that the general condition will not improve in the foreseeable future, said CFO Breckner. Therefore, far-reaching approaches with regard to employment must be discussed, while operating profit plummeted by 99% by the end of September. Revenue and sales declines by around 6%. For the year as a whole, Porsche confirms a rapidly lowered outlook of 37 to 38 billion euros in sales and a positive return on sales of up to 2%. In good times, Porsche was the most profitable German car manufacturer with a margin of about 15%. And Tesla has about 17%. Remember that. Porsche is in a serious crisis and earns almost no money but burns it. And this is not going to end anytime soon. As predicted years ago, Porsche will shrink massively, and it's possible that the brand will be restructured. Yes, and their BEV sales are not looking good either. As you can see on this chart, they had quite a big jump in Q4 2024, but have been declining ever since. So globally, the company, which EVs was called Tesla killers back in 2018, is still here in 2025 selling less than 15,000 EVs a quarter. They are losing fast, and I don't really see how they should be able to turn this around with the Chinese making better EVs than Porsche for a fraction of the price. But we will see if the new CEO can turn this shrinking ship around, or if he's just going down with the ship. But Tesla is not just leading the EV race in the US, they are absolutely dominating the build-out of the infrastructure for the EVs as well. As Sawyer wrote, Tesla added more superchargers in the US in Q3 than the next 9 networks combined, so no wonder why automakers had made Tesla's NACS the standard in the US. And as we have seen now, even GM is buying parts from Tesla as they are building the NACS port on their upcoming Bolt. So Tesla is more dominating in the charging infrastructure than they are in the EV world, as no one else wanted to help out in the beginning. Tesla has said from the beginning that they would love to open it up to other OEMs if they wanted to help build it out. But nobody wanted to help and pay the price, probably because they thought Tesla would just die and go away, and they could get back to making only ICE cars. But now they all come crawling back to Tesla to get access to the supercharger network when Tesla had built it out. And now they are the absolutely dominating force in the charging infrastructure. So basically, no matter what EV you are driving, you can't escape Tesla, as Max also wrote on X. 80% of all fast charging energy in North America flow through Tesla's superchargers. And Tesla's superchargers are 30% cheaper per kilowatt hour despite having the largest site size, average of 12 stalls, to shoulder peak travel days. Imagine what EV adoption would look like without Tesla's superchargers. Yes, Tesla forced the whole industry to go electric, but Tesla also built the whole fueling infrastructure all by themselves, or at least 80% of the charging infrastructure. And no, not Ford, not GM, none of the legacy automakers has helped out with this. Volkswagen was forced because of Dieselgate to make Electrify America, but even though they have been at it since 2015, they are just a part of the rest of the last 20% of the fast charging energy that flow through North America. Without Tesla, owning an EV would still suck in 2025, but thanks to Tesla, we can take a road trip all over North America, most of Europe, China, Australia, New Zealand, and so much more. Like Tesla shared this 9,000-mile road trip in a Cybertruck around the US and wrote, "The supercharger networks make epic road trips easy." And no one is really catching up with Tesla on this, as George, head of business development, charging a Tesla, wrote on X, "We are opening up a new supercharger every 32 minutes. Range confidence." Yes, Tesla is again running faster than the competition and accelerating, and is doing so much more than just making an electric vehicle. They are making the whole ecosystem that makes owning a Tesla so much easier than any other EV. Once you have tried it, it is hard to buy anything else that does not work this easy as driving a Tesla on a road trip, with Tesla superchargers automatically being part of the navigation system, telling you if one is getting full or even if many Teslas are heading to the same charger, and you don't have to do anything else but just plug in the cable, and the car will take care of the rest, just as Max also wrote. From the icy Arctic Circle to the scorching Mojave Desert, superchargers are built for extreme condition. Superchargers build-out incorporates temperature impact on charging behaviors. Always use Tesla Trip Planner to get the most optimized experience, trimming session time by 3 to 10 minutes. Yes, this is something many people that has never owned a Tesla just don't get, how easy road trips gets in a Tesla, and that the charging session is not an hour long, it's like your tea and coffee stop long. I have traveled around most of Europe in my Tesla, and my charging sessions are usually 10 to 15 minutes long. That is it. There is nothing quite like a road trip in a Tesla. And it is not just the car, it's about the software, the infrastructure, the convenience, the price, the confidence in the system that the chargers are always working. That is what you get when you buy a Tesla. Not just a car, but the whole ecosystem, all built by Tesla themselves. To all the other automakers, well, thanks for nothing. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla shorts. Felix reported on X. Do you remember the newspaper telling us how China wasn't all in on new energy vehicles because of that tiny early 2024 blip? Imagine hitting 60% end of 2025, pretty much a doubling in 1.5 years. That's where we're going. Yes, and Norway is basically already there, and many others are close behind, and someone like Gordon Johnson still think EVs will never take off. But okay, does that man have any credibility left? And Waymo is under investigation again. The US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said it has opened a preliminary probe into about 2,000 Waymo self-driving vehicles after report that the company's robotaxi may have failed to follow traffic safety laws around stopped school buses. The incident involved an automatic vehicle operating without a safety driver, prompting Waymo to implement new safety updates. This marks NHTSA's third investigation into Waymo's autonomous system, citing a high likelihood of similar incident amid the company's rapid expansion. So, where is Dan O'Clown screaming about Waymo's dangerous software? Oh yes, I forgot. It's only Tesla software that is dangerous. And B1067 has become the first booster to launch and land 31 times. As Brian White also wrote on X, 31 flights. The cost savings get ridiculous. Hard to compete with this, let alone think about the even greater saving just around the corner with Starship. Yes, SpaceX is completely dominating. As Elon also wrote, SpaceX will carry 90% of the world's payload mass to space this year, so it's pretty much Earth space program. Yes, just look at this chart. The blue is basically all SpaceX. And Tesla is officially launching in Africa. The company has new job listing for a full-time country sales and delivery leader in Casablanca, Morocco. The country sales and delivery leader is responsible for driving sales and delivery strategy and daily operation across the country. They will hire and develop the best people leaders and ensure development of the highest performing team, act as an ambassador for Tesla in the market, as well as provide critical perspective and guidance on decision impacting outcomes within their market to increase Tesla's market share. Nice. And Europe is trying to play catch up with the US and China in the AI race, as they know this is the future, and if they don't have AI here in Europe, we will just be left behind the US and China. As Brighton wrote on X, historic. The EU becomes the very first continent to set clear rules for the use of AI. The AI Act is much more than a rule book. It's a launchpad for EV startups and researchers to lead the global AI race. The best is yet to come. Sure, but I don't think making a lot of rules is going to make this go very fast. But as this guy wrote on X, as a European citizen and AI founder, I can apparently use these AI factories, so I just signed up to use them. Every supercomputer has Access Now button, which made me very excited. But he got excited too early, as he wrote, because in the best European style, the rule book is long and complicated, and the process is filled with red tape, and this is not going to speed up AI race for Europe. As he wrote, the EU has the right intention here, but it is just the wrong execution. This thing will 100% go nowhere, and I am born optimist. I want to believe. I'm also a proud European, and I'm in AI a bit, and not a complete idiot. There's just better ways to do this. Yes, I'm afraid that this is made by politicians and not guys that knows a lot about AI. But let's see how it goes. I will cross my fingers that we will not be completely left behind here in Europe in the AI race. And Gregor shared, anti-EV propaganda is shameful. Yes, exactly. Facts are facts. Fire frequency by vehicle type. Gasoline cars, high fire frequency, with estimated about 1,530 fires per 100,000 vehicles sold. Electric vehicles, EVs, low fire frequency, with estimate of 25 fires per 100,000 vehicles sold. Hybrid vehicles have the highest fire risk, with an estimate of 3,475 fires per 100,000 vehicles sold. Can't believe this is what you're wasting our tax dollars on. EV is literally the lowest probability of a fire. Yes, I am just stunned how misinformed people can be. And Carlos, that was kicked out as CEO of Stellantis, as you probably all remember, but he is now out after Tesla once again, as he doesn't think Tesla will be around in 10 years. Sorry, Carlos, but it was you that was such a bad CEO that you was fired, not Elon Musk. He has created the most valuable car company on the planet, and under Carlos, Stellantis stock dropped 21%. But I think Dylan Loomis from Electrified post about it was spot on. I hope everyone stops and internalize this. We have Carlos Rivera saying Tesla will leave the auto industry. The industry Elon spent 20 years revolutionizing, where he's on the verge of one of the greatest achievements in history, generalized unsupervised autonomy. Carlos then says, quote, "I'm not sure that Tesla will still exist in 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand we have an imbecile among us, some in a position of power and influence. His prediction that Tesla's stock market value loss will be colossal will go down as one of the most idiotic and baseless take of the next decade." Yes, I continue to be amazed how misinformed people can be, even the ones sitting in the big seats at the big companies. Impressive how they got those jobs, but I am willing to bet that there is a bigger chance that Stellantis will not be around in 10 years than Tesla. But let's check back in 2035. And Tesla shared one of as Huck's post about AI and wrote, "Inside look into our photons in actions out AI system. Our fleet learns 500 years of real-world driving every day, allowing full self-driving to generalize to rare complex edge cases. The AI and training system that drives Robotaxi also teaches Tesla's Optimus how to move." Yes, I really don't think many people get the implication of this. 500 years of real-world driving every day. No one else on the planet is even close to these numbers, as they don't have the fleet, and they do not have the production at scale either. I just doesn't see anyone else close to solving what Tesla is on the cusp of solving. And don't forget what Ashok also said at the earnings call. Currently, the team is super focused on solving for passenger vehicle autonomy. That said, the same technology will extend quite easily to semi once we have a little bit of data from the trucks. Yes, and that is going to be so disruptive for the whole trucking industry. It's hard to even comprehend. That is all we have time for in this Overflow News Show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it. And if you liked it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheets also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.